This is a warning, brother. The sound that is about to play will contain graphic and foul language, yeah, but is intended to be entertaining, at least to some. Oh, yeah. If you are easily offended, yeah, don't have a sense of humor, yeah, or have your head up your ass, oh, yeah, this isn't for you. Everyone else, please try to have fun. And as always, the cream rises to the top and stay creative.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bryan SilverBax Show. I am Bryan SilverBax, and with me, as always, is my co-host, JR Mounts.
Good to be here, Bryan.
What's up, man? And today, we're going to be talking about art stuff and some comic book stuff. Shit, I'm just fucking these all up.
Don't worry about it.
All right. This installment is brought to you by Capone Stream. Stick around. What's up, JR?
What's up, Bryan?
No, we never do a second take on that. So I'm just going to continue to fuck it up.
Okay.
Because what I'm doing is I'm conditioning myself to start incorporating you as the co-host, because that's our new status. Sure. Is you're the co-host. And so it has, my brain hasn't completely lined everything up to just, so I have to keep conditioning myself. And plus, I pressed record and I didn't even know what I was going to call this episode or what I was going to say. We're talking about, stick around. Like, I don't know.
What he mean, folks, is he's not sure that JR is going to be in the title all the time.
No. That's the plan, unless I score like an interview or something like that. Yeah. But I think it's going to be fun. Like, we just did a show a while back where you and I were talking about The Princess Bride, and we got to talking about movies and all kinds of stuff, and it felt like the morning zoo crew. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're hearing two people, and then we have this one nugget. We're going to talk about Princess Bride. Yeah. Everything else, the rest of that hour was filled up with us sidetracking on this and sidetracking on that. And that's kind of the dynamic that I want, though.
The subject matter, though.
Yeah. Well, that's my job as the host, to keep everything, keep the ship pointed in the right direction. Right. But
still keep it free enough to just interject. Like, this is a conversation.
Yeah, and I wanted to steer away from every episode of the Bryan SilverBax Show being an interview where I'm like interviewing people that I may not have met before. Mm-hmm. And that means my listeners are having to get pitched at. Because every time I talk to somebody, it's like, here's my Kickstarter, or here's the project that I'm working on. And that's great. I mean, I would like to showcase that more, but I want people to like the person. I want people to tune in and just, what is JR and Bryan up to now? You know what I mean? Like, I want to create something that's desirable to listen to, not just who's pitching me today.
What I think is interesting about that format is that, one, it gets you away from having to do the have-tos. Like, okay, it's an interview, so we got to talk about this, we got to talk about that.
Be sure to talk about your Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing I like about it is, too, and this is what I like about the format, which is why I'm here. Mm-hmm. It allows people to get to know your personality. Bryan SilverBax, not just like, hey, so what's this question? Hey, so what's this question? Yeah. It's Bryan SilverBax, the same guy you'd get up if you're going up to your table and going, so did you hear they're making a Princess Bride remake? And you're like, no, did he? You know?
Yeah. I think it allows, I think I have more personality than I need. So this allows me to like share my personality with everybody and see if I'm the right flavor for you.
Sure. I do. Well, I agree with you on that. That this won't be for everybody.
No,
especially those who are weak of cussing content.
Yeah, I am a foul. My mom doesn't listen to my show. She encourages me. She's like, "Oh, Bryan, you're doing great stuff, but I will not listen to your podcast."
I have not cussed in public for a very long time until this year. Because you
had such a fucking bad show.
Exactly right.
Like I can picture you like doing like as we say that, I'm thinking of Blair Witch, and you've got your Facebook Live, and you're looking up at your snotty nose, and you're like, "Fuck these people! They don't want to buy my stuff."
It was more like it was less blaming others for my fate, but more like going, why the fuck
does God hate me?
Holding back so much? Why didn't I just be who the fuck I am when I'm talking to my friends like we are now? And
Why am I putting on this character?
Well, it was trying to play it safe for those that would be offended by some of the content that I would be talking about. And, like, I have a lot of, or had a lot of kids that would come up to the booth because they liked scary tales or something like that. Or people that were, a little less open with the foul language.
Yeah.
But this is how I talk. So after having...
you're a metalhead.
Yeah. Well...
Not that not that all metalheads are foul-mouthed, bloody...
Yeah, but we have
people.
it, and we always go, fucking A, fucking
Yeah.
Metallica.
Yeah, but isn't...
Iron fucking Maiden, AC fucking DC, Angus fucking Young, it's like, that's how we're talking about. But to display that in front of everybody was a bit of a window that came down.
Yeah.
And when those windows come down, people see more of you. You're like, oh, hey, man, I didn't realize you had such a bad time in Chicago. And I'll say, yeah, C2 Suck was a fucking horrible nightmare show. Not because the show's bad, because it was not my show.
Yeah.
I took a bath on it, and I took a chance on it. So what I find is being this way allows people to see another side of me and that they may not like, which is okay with me.
And if they don't like it, then just don't listen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But I do hope the content they like.
I'm still going to be at the table.
Right.
I'm still going to shake your hand. I'm still going to take pictures. I'm still going to have cool shit for you to buy. And you don't have to listen to me cuss if you don't want to, but this is who I am. If you like me enough at the table to give this show a listen, here's who I am.
Right.
Maybe we can go have a beer after the show or something. You know what I'm saying? Only if you like who I am for real.
Because I do think that when people do want to hang out with you or do invest in, say, in the podcast, it's because they do want to be around you more because you're a fun guy to hang out with.
Yeah.
I think that really bleeds into that, and I think that's kind of what we're able to do here with this show, is give people more of what we may not always be able to because we're only at the show for a certain amount of time.
And it forces you and I to talk to each other with other human beings. Like the lifestyle of a full-time stay-at-home artist that pretty much only works for themselves.
Sure.
There's not a lot of interaction with anybody that doesn't live in the household with you, aside from doing shows. So this forces you and I to... I can have discussions with you if I know that I'm going to see you once, 2, 3 times a week. There's discussions I can have with you that maybe I can't have with my wife because she doesn't give a shit about Wolverine's next thing, or she doesn't understand, this inking technique.
Sure.
And Amos is not always available, and some of this shit may just fall off on him. And Matt, so this is a way for me to make sure that my voice still works during the week because I really don't talk to anybody.
I don't talk.
I don't talk to anybody. All I do
is you type.
I text and I type and I send in some messages and DMs and stuff, but all I do is ignore bill collector calls all day long and try to get work done.
I also think it's a good opportunity to, like whenever we used to see each other just at shows, and this goes with like
you try to pack all that
everybody. Well, yeah, because you're like, oh, how's your show? Okay, what you doing now? What are you working on next? What do you think about the new Godzilla movie? And what are you gonna do today? Oh yeah, something's at my table. I gotta go. So it's very, very ramshackle. It's like bam, bam, bam. We're under the gun.
I'm talking to you, but the corner of my eye, I'm keeping an eye on my table, making sure no one goes over there. So I'm half-heartedly paying attention to your response to whatever my question was.
That's right. Yeah. Whereas if we know we're going to get together, we know we don't have to fill 1 hour up with every single fucking thing that's on our mind.
Yeah.
We can talk about a whole topic. Look, dude, did I want to talk about Princess Bride remake? No, because I'm totally fucking against it. But we had a good time talking about it.
It turned out,
it brought up
I think
other
we got
things.
a good movie going. I think we had a good movie going.
We had a pretty good one.
I don't know what they would do with the script, though, because that's where it'll fall apart. No matter who you cast in it, if you're trying to rewrite it and be like, oh, this joke would be funnier, or take this part out, let's send him into space, you're like, oh, god dang.
Right.
Now you've...
Gender swap, color...
just let's fuck with the script. Yeah, so whatever. So I went to my local comic book shop, Dr. Nose, and I picked up 2 comic books, and I actually sat down in Dr. Nose, and I didn't read the books. My house is so no, we don't do that.
Oh, okay.
only for shit that's got to be taken
we don't
out.
get rid of dead air, Brian?
No, that wasn't quite dead air. That's
I'm looking
me.
at my phone.
My wife texted me, so
okay.
I was like,
That's
but see,
important.
that's keeping it real. But it wasn't anything too important. But so I actually picked up the free Batman Day Batman book, and I looked at the art inside. Because as I'm putting together my Loggerhead project, which is a comic book that I'm writing, and I'm going to try to shoulder 95% of the burden of this book, where it's the lettering, the coloring, the writing, the inking, all that stuff. And
who's drawing it?
Yeah, me.
Just fucking with you.
So I buy comic books nowadays simply for the covers.
Really?
Most of the time, like I don't read comic books anymore.
Okay.
And I bought these 2 comic books, and I did not read them. But what I did do is I got the Batman, and I looked at the artwork. I looked at the coloring. I was mainly looking at coloring.
So you're looking at it objectively.
I wanted to know. I think I'm in my head, and what's intimidated me is I like to pretend that I can draw with a lot of detail.
Okay.
And I don't know, and that's for cover stuff, like pin-up, cool cover stuff, have a lot of detail, have a lot of shit going on, lines that don't need to be there, but you're just packing all these lines in to make everything look so fucking awesome and stuff.
Right. Because more must be better, right?
Well, growing up as a huge fan of Todd McFarlane, dude, he's just like scribbling and just lines everywhere, and you're like, how does that fucking look so good? So I think in my head, I'm on the path to do the stuff that he's doing. In reality, I'll never do that.
Well, that's how life is as artists.
I know. But so
this is going to be as good as Norman Rockwell.
So I've been intimidated to do pages because I don't have the ability to. I don't think that I have the ability to draw someone sipping coffee or draw somebody going to bed.
You mean and make it interesting?
Well, and just draw it in general. I can draw somebody jumping through a wall and smashing shit, but I don't, as far as like perspective and the anatomy and stuff like I don't know that I can draw non-superhero shit.
Well, think of it this way, all right? You've seen a guy shoot his gun, right? Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Takes the gun to his mouth and blows the smoke.
Yeah.
All right? Because it's a cool look, right? Draw that and now change it to a cup of coffee.
Yeah, but I'm talking like I specifically remember at one point I had written a page and I had my main character sitting in like a lazy boy.
Okay.
And I tried to draw it and I was like, God dang, man, this looks like straight shit.
All right, so what you need to do is draw a book called Adrenaline where he's constantly doing something like Crash.
He's just like all of his veins are popping. He's like
constantly
I'm
in
just
motion.
Squatting.
Yeah, he's
but no, so
always fighting some shit.
So with that said though, the intimidation comes in not knowing that I'll be, if I can do that stuff, excuse me, and where do I draw the line on the amount of detail that I put in the panels as opposed to what I do on the cover? I don't want to shortchange anybody with my panel work and say, oh, well, he's just phoning in the panels and he just focuses on the cover. But I do think the cover needs to have more attention than the panels.
Agreed.
But I don't want someone to say, oh, this is like, I'm just afraid. I want to know, me in my head, I want to know where to draw the line. And that's not a figure of speech. Like, I don't really want to know how to draw the line.
As a pun guy, I didn't get that.
But I want to know what is too much. Like, how much does every panel I need have to have a full background? When do I put action lines in? When do I just put silhouettes in? This is what's hanging up in my head.
Sure.
And it's causing me to be afraid to even start a project because I don't fully know the answers.
Well, what about this? One, I think you're intimidated because you just haven't done it before.
Yes.
But when
that
you
has
do
a lot to do with it.
When you do it, you'll have that box checked. Right?
Yes.
The other thing is, it's never a bad thing to look at what you are trying to emulate.
You're talking about like
references. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
In other words, like, I want this book to feel like this. And so you look at that and you're like, okay, so how did that make me feel? Like, what is in that page that made me feel like this? And then you start seeing, like, was it the detail? Was it the detail that was so important in that page that made you like that art so much? Or was it the fact that what was going on was happening? And so if that was what drew your attention, how much detail was going on around them? For myself personally, I'm a very sparse artist. I'm a cartoonist because most cartooning deals with the primary characters. big, bold, black lines, and the chairs are just a chair. The bed is just a bed.
Yeah.
If there's a cityscape, it's a cityscape. I'm not going for New York City or anything like that.
Yeah.
It just depends on what your function is for what you're doing. And what you're doing is clearly going to require more detail than, say, anything I do. But you'll know when you're done.
But I think also part of my trepidation, I think is the right word.
Yeah,
part of my trepidation is I know that I'm doing all the jobs.
Sure.
So if I fuck up on the writing, I could compound that by fucking up the artwork, and then I could compound that by fucking up the coloring. So
it's a domino effect. Is what you're saying.
I'm saying
start with one fuck up. I'm fuck
saying
it all up.
Bryan SilverBax has the ability to fuck everything up.
Yeah, but we always do.
But so, like, if I was drawing pages and Stephen King wrote the story, I know that the story's probably going to be okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But even
then I could fuck up the artwork.
Even Stephen King wrote Langoliers.
Use my fucking example the way I'm intending it.
I know what you're saying.
Let's just say that the greatest comic book writer ever was writing the story. Then I can rest assured. Let's say JR Mouse is writing the wonderful story.
I appreciate that, Bryan. I appreciate that.
And then I'm doing the artwork. And then now I know that the book itself can only fail on two levels: Bryan's artwork and Bryan's coloring. This will be okay. Let's say that Bryan was doing the coloring and JR Mounts was doing writing and Eric Dodson was doing the line work and inks, and then I was just doing the coloring. I would say, all right, well, JR's got that licked, so the book's not going to suck reading. The artwork is going to be done by Eric Dodson and his team, and now the coloring is mine, so that's only one area I could fuck it up. So it kind of takes the pressure off. Like, even if I fuck up the coloring, it's not going to break the whole book down. But since I'm in charge of every aspect of this book, I think I know that, let's just say I fucked up this panel writing, I fucked up this panel drawing, and I fucked up this panel coloring. There's a great deal of hitting blackjack.
I think a couple things. One, let me ask you one question. Whether you are only doing a part of the book or the whole book as either one of a many cogs, or the main cog.
Only cog.
You take your giant cog and you... All right.
I am known for my huge cog.
Would you bring any less of Bryan SilverBax to those pieces, whether you fuck it up or not?
I just think I don't know that. No. You're going to get all of the cog.
All right.
You're getting full cog.
So you're getting full cog. So I'm going to be able to get all of Brian's cog in my hands.
My cog could be warped. My cog could be fucked up.
Tip. Yeah.
I think that's what's worried me. So, with all that said, I picked up the book this weekend and I looked through it, and I looked through the Batman book simply for the coloring, because I've been hired to color one book already, and I've done that and sent it off.
Who's hired you?
That was for Sacred Chaos for the book Abigail. That's already done out, and it's in the mythos.
Oh, excellent.
But and I'm getting ready to do Project Apex with Martin Dunn and those guys. So they're going to pay me to color their book.
For which company?
I think this is an indie project that he's doing.
Okay.
It used to be called Project Overwatch, and then Overwatch, the video game, bought the name from him.
Okay.
And then he switched the name to Project Apex.
Okay.
Something to that effect. But whatever, they've brought me on to color the book, and I don't want to fuck that up. You know what I mean?
Sure. That's big stakes. I get that.
So I got this Batman book, and I looked through it, and I'm looking through for coloring techniques and where do I draw the line. I've noticed that there's things that I do that I don't like, but I don't know how to either circumvent them, or I haven't consciously adjusted my fire. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing that the rounds are going low and to the left on the target.
Right.
But I have not adjusted fire to get back to what I'm doing because I may not know how.
Let me ask you this, all right? So you're saying you bought the book based on the cover. Okay.
Well, no. It was a free Batman book.
Okay, free Batman book.
But I wanted to know what the state of comics is.
Right. So Here's my thing. You know that for the amount of Batman books that are out there, there's got to be some shit Batman books out there.
Yes. Well, so that being said, I looked at this and I studied it, so to speak. Like I looked at there's some the coloring techniques. I'm not a big fan of the way that free Batman book was colored. Like it wasn't for me.
This is specifically the Batman Who Laughs #1. Year of the Villain.
Yeah, the free Batman Day special.
This is just to give people references to what he's looking at.
So then I asked Izzy at the counter, Dr. Knows, and I said, "Can you point me in the direction of a title that you're reading now that has what you consider to be great color work?"
Okay.
And she pointed me to a copy, the latest copy of Batman and Catwoman. I don't know. It's got Batman and Catwoman on the front.
Okay.
And I looked inside. You're like this. On the inside, wherever the story is, I don't know where the story is, but he is dressed as Magnum P.I. He has this huge mustache.
Fantastic.
And he has you know how Magnum P.I. had the Tiger's hat on?
Yep.
It's a G for Gotham. So he's wearing the Gotham hat, and he's got the Bermuda shorts on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he's got his shirt off, and he's doing push-ups.
Okay.
But he's legitimately looks just like Magnum P.I. It's awesome.
Okay.
And I looked at the coloring in there, and I was like, oh, okay.
And it was good.
This is how coloring is supposed to, like this. Between the two Batman books that I looked at, the one that I did not purchase, the one that she pointed me to, is closer to something I would like to emulate.
Okay.
I did not study that book because I didn't buy it, and I don't want to sit there and sit at the table and look at all the pages without buying the book. So I thought to myself, well, I fancy Todd McFarlane's work. I've always had an admiration for Todd McFarlane's work, although sometimes his faces can get a little too cartoony
They're
for
a
me.
little sideways, but it's a very stylistic style. But
yes,
from his Spider-Man to his Spawn, they're
the
great.
detail, the rendering, that's something I really appreciate. And if I were to strive, I would like to be. Of course, this is never going to happen. Please don't. I'm not comparing myself to anybody.
Sure.
But maybe like a hodgepodge of like a amalgamation between Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane. Like if I could take the grounded reality kind of that Jim Lee brings, and then the detail and the hyper coolness that Todd McFarlane brings, I'd like to be a marriage in the middle.
Yeah, Jim Lee's work is very grounded. Whereas
I don't want. Trust me, I am not on their level. I am not saying that I'm on their level.
That's what you strive for.
But so that's where I want to be in the spectrum of artwork. So, Spawn 300 just came out.
Okay.
And I did not buy it because I'm not reading Spawn.
Right.
I do admire the fact that he's put 300 issues in.
Yeah,
about to be 301.
Who's drawing it?
Well, here's the thing. Spawn 300, there's several chapters, and he had different artists.
Oh, he did that again. God, I fucking hate that.
Well, no, he did it. He said if you want to do a cover variant for Spawn 300, you've got to do pages. So J. Scott Campbell did pages, Greg Capullo did pages, a couple of other artists did pages, and I was like, well, shit. If I want to see what everybody else is, if I want to buy one book and get a little bit more intake to study,
sure,
then I'll get this book. So I looked through this book, and what I have found through looking through these books is I may have been overthinking my whole panel thing to the point where I scared myself.
Sure.
Like, though everybody in that book is a great artist. Everything in there is great. And I noticed that there's outlines instead of full coloring. Like where I saw specifically, there's a character in the foreground, and then there's a house in the background, and the house has a privacy fence.
Okay.
And the artist drew the top and bottom of the privacy fence and threw like one or two partial slat marks in the privacy fence. And then the colorist also colored it and kind of made some delineation between a couple of the slats, but then everything else was filled in. And I said, I would have drawn this panel, and I know that I would have drawn every slat.
Yep.
And I probably would have tried to shade every slat. And I'm like, and it's not that these artists are cheapening out.
No, but they put the idea of the slats as
So that's what I was thinking. That's why I say I think I'm in my head as to the amount of stuff that I may be okay.
I think you are, Bryan, because I've seen your work and I know you always bring 100%. And I also just think that I think every artist deals with fear, and it's okay to care so much about something that you are really intimidated about fucking it up.
Yeah. So
but you've also had a kid before, so
so
who's still alive, by the way.
I looked through this, and so I looked at the line work.
Did the same person color all this?
No, each section is done differently. But like, here's the I was noticing.
That's back. Interesting.
Yeah, he's gone to and fro. I can't find the little scene where the slats are, but they were close to the front because Amos showed up at the store and I was talking to him about it. But so I looked at it and I was like, all right, so that's just one aspect, is Bryan knowing where lines need to be.
How much detail is there?
You've seen people draw a fist in comic books, and they'll just basically draw the outline of the fist and throw 2 or 3 marks in there because the fist is not a huge part of what's going on on the panel.
Exactly.
Whereas Bryan likes to take everything and draw every single line so I have to pull back on that. I have to say, how important is it for me, is this hand balled up in a fist, when it's really the character that I'm just trying to show walked into the room and said, da, 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 I'm here. Is that hand, we just need to know where the hand is and suggest that it's making a fist. I don't need to overthink it and draw every digit.
I agree with you. But
it's mentally, I'm having a tough time working past that.
Well, this is also what you've done in the past. You've done every line. You've been very detailed. Whereas now, it's kind of like you've got a battery. You've got a finite amount of energy. So where do I put all my energy? Well, you put your energy where it's most important per page. So if you know you're going to have 6 panels on that page, what is your most important action on that page? What do you want the eye to follow? Because you also know too much detail can draw the eye away.
I know. And then see, me being my own colorist, and I don't color my stuff because I think I'm good. Let me just put that out there. I color my stuff because I can't afford to pay anybody to do it for me.
But would you also say that you're a competent colorist?
I've been told that I am.
Okay, so it's not like you're not doing shit. You're not taking markers.
But
you're not taking Sharpies and doing this shit.
No, but to me, I feel that coloring could make mediocre look much better.
Okay.
And for me, I think most of my line art is mediocre, and I also think that my coloring is mediocre. So I don't think that I can disguise things like the way that a better colorist would be able to do. You know what I mean?
My advice would be, don't be such a pussy.
All right.
No. All right. I mean this in the best way, right?
Yeah.
Throw shit at that fucking wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, but
because you can always redraw it. Because you can redraw it. How many times you've drawn something? And here's the thing: go forward, be strong, do this. Because Loggerhead's going to be a fucking awesome book. You know it.
I hope
it's going to be awesome.
I'm up to page 11
because you're bringing the energy to it, Bryan. That's what people want to see. They don't want to give a fuck about how many knuckles is he drawing. What does every single knuckle have 2 lines?
Obviously, some people can work past the art because Rob Liefeld is still employed.
Oh my God.
And he is still creating content. And there are many people that are still buying
and
and
some
falling
people love
over.
his art. Some people love his art.
Yeah. So what? There's a shoe for everybody.
Right.
But I think there's more people.
Crosshatch like a motherfucker there.
There's more people that don't like his art than do, though. I don't want to be in that category.
Well, to be fair, he has phoned in a lot of that art, and he's done it to himself.
Well, yeah, but that's.
But when he's done it well, he's done it well. That first issue of Youngblood was fantastic. When he cared about that, that's what I'm going back to. When he's phoned it in, it sucks.
Well, the new stuff's all phoned in.
But when he's done well, it is done great. Bryan SilverBax is going to do well because he's going to be bringing 100% of Bryan SilverBax.
Yeah, I appreciate the push there, but 100% of Bryan SilverBax may not be enough. It may not be good.
But what if it's
100% of a pile of piece of shit is still 100% shit?
I think you're being too hard on yourself because you're already projecting failure. Which is already, that's self-prophesizing. Because you're always saying, what if I fuck this up? What if I fuck that up?
But isn't that the way we do everything?
No, we look at it fuck up in hindsight. All right, think about your best work.
I don't want to fuck up. I'm trying to avoid fucking up. And
it's because you care.
And I'm stalling out, I think.
Well, it is stalling you out.
I guess maybe I'm putting so much gas in the engine that the engine stalls out.
You're putting way too much pressure on yourself to be
well,
perfect.
I was trying to do a metaphor.
Well, a metaphor's
like
good,
like
but
a
sometimes...
like a car. Like, does a car need gas to move forward? Yes. Too much gas can cause the engine to choke out, and now you got to wait. So I do know that maybe I do have the gasoline, but maybe I'm just all that to say. I was looking through the Spawn book, and I found that, and I've realized that maybe I'm overthinking the amount of detail that I'm going to put in the pages. Fair. So I'm okay with that.
But that's where this book was a good exercise, because you could see many different takes,
and that's why I
Todd
bought
doesn't pay for shit.
Oh, no.
Todd does not ask people who are crappy to be part of this book.
No, there's some different styles. Like J. Scott Campbell, there's some painterly style in here.
Look at this right here.
Yeah, I didn't
Every
like this
blade of grass, but look.
Yeah, but it almost like a painting.
Sure.
And then there was this is the J. Scott Campbell one. But what I noticed, and the second takeaway for this book for me was, I am coloring too dark.
Interesting. Okay.
I am. If your skin tone is this shade, then when Bryan goes to throw the shadow side of it, I'm going extreme. If you look in this book, there are subtle changes between the lightest and the darkest area. Like, they're not even when they're in the dark, it's not a whole lot of color deviation.
Sure. Right.
And I have been going very heavy on this is fucking shadow, this is fucking light, and this is the skin tone.
But you've also been drawing covers, and covers require that kind of thought process.
But I know myself, and I know that because I did the colors for that guy's book, right? And I applied the same technique for coloring in that book, whereas now, looking at this, I'm going to rethink how dark. Like, that's vivid panel. Sure. Nothing's taken away, and there's such a little amount of color deviation. But I can see that this is the light side and this is the dark side. Right. Whereas I've been laying it on thick, as if somebody who's damn near blind is looking at the page like dark side, light side.
But again, you also do pinups. I mean, most of your work has not been in sequential art. You're stepping into sequential art now, which is a different look. This page.
Well, dude, this right here. Look, you can see what color everything is.
Absolutely,
very little color deviation.
But then look how the cover's drawn. The cover is drawn in such a way that is clearly a cover.
Yeah,
and that is an interior page.
Yeah, but there's not. Honestly, with Todd McFarlane's inking, everything looks 100% like it could be a cover.
You also know that there's only one red thing in his entire book, and it's always Spawn's costume.
Yeah, but
he doesn't add red anymore.
So when I looked through this book, it gave me some reassurance as to I'm overthinking everything. I can pull back a little bit, and I need to adjust the way I color so that my stuff doesn't look as amateur as it does.
Because you're telling a story. That's the most important part. I think artists forget this, but story is the most important part of anything you do. And no matter how good your stuff looks, if it doesn't perpetuate the story, then how good it looks.
Then why is it there?
CGI. It's like CGI. You know, your story will be enhanced by your art, and ironically, people won't think it's the story that was awesome. They'll think it's your art that's awesome, and it's a symbiosis.
Yeah, I wish that I wasn't the only person working on this project.
But it's a good challenge, though.
No, it is, and I'm gonna do it. In my heart, I'm a better team player.
Okay.
When all of the weight doesn't have to fall on my shoulders.
I get that.
And I know that, this is my rookie outing for almost every aspect of this journey. This is my rookie outing.
And terrifying.
I could lay a big pile of shit and put a cover on it. And then no one will ever want to have anything to do with me because I gift wrapped a turd for them. Sure. And I don't want to gift wrap a turd.
I think you're going to find that no matter what happens with this book, the sheer fact that you got it done will change.
If it does get
it will. No, it will. We're going to mark those words. It will change how you think from now on, but you got to get this one done first.
Yeah.
Because you'll look at it and you'll say parts where like, well, okay, that is a little fucked up. I didn't do as well as that. But then you look at something else like, I totally nailed that. In fact, I nailed that to a degree that I don't think I can do that again better. And you're going to have all these aspects because, artists, we don't love anything we did after we did it. We're doing it, we're loving it now, and it's going to be awesome. And then the minute we're done with it, we're like, oh, that's shit. And then you go, do it again because we're humble.
Yeah, so that
I have confidence in you.
It was just really cool that I looked at Spawn issue 300 and was able to walk away with, you can do this. Like I came home with an added, like the story could still be shit in Loggerhead, but I do think that I'll be able to pull off the inside and not have it be the hack job that I thought I was going to.
I mean, that's a great lesson.
Yeah. So then I stopped at Hobby Lobby and I bought some more markers and some more liner pens.
Okay.
I'm
staring. And you start drawing right away?
No. Well, I have a project that I'm doing. I'm doing some Cloak and Dagger trading cards for Upper Deck.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
And they have a very quick turnaround, so I have to knock out my cards before I can get back on any project.
Okay.
But I have been writing, but I need to knock out these 20 cards just so I don't have them looming over my head. Because I have 2 shows coming up in October.
Which ones?
The one day on the 5th, I'm going to Iron City Sports and Comic collectible thing.
One day show?
Just one day. And then on the 19th and 20th, I'm going to Memphis for the first time.
Oh, rock on.
So that's supposed to be a humdinger of a show. I'm looking forward to that.
What's the name of that one?
Memphis and Comic Expo.
Okay.
Memphis Comic Expo or something.
Rock on,
like
man.
Last year they had Donnie Cates there. This time they got Snyder's going to be there.
Jeez.
David Finch is going to be there.
Holy crap, that's a...
Chris Claremont's going to be there. Like, dude, it's a big one.
This is a serious show.
Yeah, no celebrity guests. No celebrity guests. It's all comic book.
That's awesome. Excellent.
It's maybe like a toned down version of Heroes Con. Like, it might be like a smaller version of that.
Good. That means we might be able to make some money.
Yeah, I've heard good things, so that's I'm looking forward to doing that. But those are in October, and these cards are due on the 15th, and I got to have them turned in by then. So I need to get on those. At the same time, I'm trying to do the Loggerhead thing. I don't want to procrastinate anymore on doing that.
But you're doing Loggerhead, so I mean, you're not.
Well, yeah, like the other day, Friday, was it Friday? Friday or Thursday, I ended up writing 3 or 4 pages.
Okay.
So I just got on this kick, but the 3 or 4 pages that I wrote changed the story. So now my notes for the other pages I had to throw them away and kind of
but that's good.
adjust.
But is it better than what you had before?
I don't know. I've sent it to my editor, and we'll see we'll see the feedback that I get.
I think subconsciously it's better.
Well, there was really nothing there. Like the way it was before is I had written 7 pages full script, and then I had pages 8 through 22. Just here's what needs to happen on this page. So it was like 3 words. Bill takes out the trash. Bill finds a raccoon in a trash can. Trash man comes over the curb. So each page just had like 3 words of here's what needs to take place on that page. Well, when I wrote page 8, 9, 10, and half of 11, that counteracted the event. That means that some of those events that I had labeled on those pages are no longer going to fit. Anymore.
Okay.
So I'm having to adjust so that my story ends on page 22. I'm trying to have to figure out a different way to get there.
Okay.
So it's not like it was good or bad. I'm not rewriting anything. I'm just having to restructure where I'm headed, like how to get to the finish line. It's pretty cool.
But you are progressing.
Forward progress, man. That's all I can do. Forward progress. And once I get the story written, it'll be like a moment.
Right.
And then I get it back from the editor, and he's like, dude, that's good to go.
Well,
and then that means now I can only fuck away. I can only fuck it up in the artwork now.
Well, and that's the greatest thing about this too, though. Right? So you take one job at a time. You don't start drawing, writing, inking, coloring all at once. You take one job at a time. Because what's the timeline on this thing?
ASAP. Just whenever I can get it done.
Okay, yeah, but not ASAP.
I don't have
October.
I have not. No.
Okay.
Don't dilly dally.
So you've got the time to make it right. To make
Correct.
it good as best you can. And keep in mind, as best you can. There might be things you're not as good at in other areas, but as best you can works, man.
It doesn't hurt that the person that has volunteered to be my editor is also a published comic writer with several... Huh? Yeah. Like James he wrote them all. or is writing them all. He writes Solar Flare. Okay. Both of those had been optioned for television and film.
Nice.
And so he's doing something right.
James who?
James Hike.
Okay.
From Scout. He's on
Scout Comics.
Mm-hmm. He's on like they do theirs in seasons. So I think Solar Flare is like on season 4 or 5. So he's been they put out, and there's 6 floppies in a season.
So he's got some experience.
So he's putting some work in. So he knows what to do. And with him volunteering to be my editor on this project, he's going to guide me as to here's what a good page layout. Like once we get the story down, he's going to also help me design my panels.
Oh, that's golden.
Not by drawing anything, but saying, Bryan, we need to have a panel here that shows this. And he's going to guide me to how, if it was his book, how he would like the pages to be set up. I don't have to do everything he says, but having that experience where he's been there, done that, and he's got a t-shirt. So it's not going to hurt anything at all for him to look at my stuff and kind of point me in the direction. If I fuck it up, I'll fuck it up. But he will have pointed me in the right direction.
It sounds like he's, though, interested in getting the best Bryan SilverBax that you can be as well. I think without shoehorning you into his ideas.
Part of what I think it is that just through our interactions, he feels that he can feel the drive and the passion that I'm trying to put out there, and recognizes that I'm trying to do things. And without financially assisting someone, the best you can do is offer what you're good at.
Sure, especially if they know what they're talking about.
And so he has sensed that I'm going to do something, and he just wants to help me facilitate me getting it done.
Dude, that's awesome.
Much like my brother. My brother just did he's launching a game development patch software package that will allow people in the gaming community that design games to do things. I can't back him financially. I can't say, but here's what I do. How can I help you, Sean? And Sean says, hey, man, I need a logo. Hey, man, I need a Facebook page.
Nice.
Hey, man, I need this edited and that edited. Can I get some screenshots and stuff like that? So, and I've done that for anything. Like Amos hit me up the other day. Bryan, I need a flyer for my podcast. Just being Amos.
Nice.
So I can do that. It doesn't cost me anything except for maybe an hour of my time. I can sit down, I can bang it out. And now you've basically, like for Amos, in Amos's instance, like he's gotten $100 to $200 worth of design, that he doesn't have to pay for.
Yeah.
And he's got a quality product to show now.
And you got to help out a friend.
Yeah. And so I feel that that's how James is doing this with me is I can't do it for you. I can't give you money to do it, but I can see that you're doing it and try to put some bumpers on your bowling alley.
It's great because he's giving you his valuable experience and giving you kind of a short straw.
Yeah, but so as it just hits me in the head, it's bowling alley. He's put the bumpers up on the gutters.
Sure.
I can still hit one pin.
Right.
Or I could still hit 2 pins, or I could hit them all down. But he's at least eliminated, having him on board at least eliminates a complete strikeout.
A definite fail.
A complete zero in the frame.
Right. No, that's a good analogy, man. Because I don't think anybody wants you
I'm
to
guessing
fail.
right now the reason the dog is barking is because Kyra and Chance just left.
Oh.
If I had to guess, that's what, or she's walking. They're no longer
in the
house.
It's radio. It's podcasting CGI.
But so that's what I've got going on artistically, and I just recently bought some fake. I went fake with the Copic markers.
What do you mean fake?
I don't buy Copics. I was buying Prismacolors. Okay. Then I went from Prismacolors to buying the Winsor Newton ones.
Okay.
And now I just got some generic, like 4 for $20, like whatever they are. So
are they bad?
I haven't tried them out yet. So these Cloak and Dagger cards is we're going to be experimenting because I'm getting out of having the smorgasbord of colors. Like I'm going to go if you get a commission from Bryan SilverBax, that some bitch is going to be gray on gray, on dark gray, on light gray, on French gray, on warm gray, on cool gray, with a nice hot Sharpie outline that can be any color. But I can't afford to buy the markers because I don't.
See, I do the Copics and I buy the ink refills because I'm a cheap bastard.
But that's not where I want to be.
Sure.
I want to be able to do a commission if I need to.
Yeah.
But I want to focus on getting comic books and coloring and work. And if you don't want a gray commission, sorry.
Well, quite honestly, they're still getting Bryan SilverBax art.
Yeah, but
not everything has to pop with red and blues.
Dude, for my past
shades of gray, that's still difficult stuff, man.
The past 2 sets of cards that I've turned into Upper Deck were all gray.
And how many did you get back?
They all passed.
Okay, see, there you go.
So all I'm doing is graying it up.
It was black and white.
Well, it's weird because there's a line in the contract that you sign that says all cards will be full color, and I think that you've heard of the spirit of the law and the letter of the law.
Yeah.
So I think the spirit of that comment is we don't want big, large areas of nothing on the card.
Right. No empty. Well, because doing shades of gray is color. Well, the thing you don't want is just a blank line.
But it says full color.
But it is color.
The word
gray
full
is a color, dude.
The word full. So that's I'm going to test these cards out with that. You got any new art supplies you got going on? You trying anything out?
I am very faithful to my Copics because there's certain shades of color that I really like as opposed to certain Prismacolors. I also hate when a marker goes a little dry.
Yeah.
So I tend to always get to the ones where I can just put vast amount of color inside. Other than the Copics, I'm sticking with watercolor right now because I love how
when you're doing watercolors, are you doing just the Crayola watercolors?
You know what? I am the type of guy that
stuff?
I try anything. I don't know. I don't have excellent watercolors. I just bought a cheap ass set from Hobby Lobby because I had a coupon and I wanted to try watercolor.
Yeah, I saw a little travel kit. It's about the size of 2 credit cards.
Yeah.
It's something you could take to conventions and just have some little color dabs.
Brian, it's my belief that it doesn't have anything. Well, all right. Some things have to do with the quality of stuff you're putting out there. Like, obviously, you don't want to take watercolors and put it on line paper, or notebook paper.
Or tracing paper.
Yeah, or tracing paper. But, watercolor is watercolor paper. Watercolors are watercolors. It still comes from you as the artist. You know that whether you're doing full color or grays, you're going to shade it properly.
Yeah, well, also part of what I'm doing is I'm trying to pretend that one day my services will be desirable in other parts of the country and I will have to be on a plane.
Sure. Well,
so I don't want to take a suitcase full of Copic markers. I want to have 5 to 10 gray markers. Yeah. And I've also looked at getting a smaller banner that may fit into my carry-on.
I am too. Yeah. Yeah, we've got to be able to be more mobile.
My first trip down to Florida was shit, what do I bring? I can't bring my whole van full of shit. No. So and that's part of the reason why my prints, I downsized them to comic book size prints. They look like mock covers, is so that I could store a couple of them and then I could store my markers. And if I had a roll up, then all it takes for me to show up at your convention is one little bag. I throw up my banner. I put out my stack of comic book size prints. I throw out my trading cards and my pens. And other than that, you better bring something to my table for me to
and you could leave in 5 minutes if you had to, because that's the other thing is that you just don't want to take most of your time setting up and tearing down.
Yeah,
you got to get business.
So
going.
I'm trying to. I've looked at some banner stuff. I think the smallest I'm going to go with is a 2-foot wide banner.
Okay.
Which I noticed that Jay Lee had at Dragon Con. He had the little 2-foot wide.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Little Superman flying into the sky.
Yeah.
It didn't. It could have just said Jay Lee.
Yeah.
The Superman was the size of a pack of cigarettes.
A little afterthought.
But all you just need is something so people can find you.
Yeah.
So
and it should stand out. It should show some of the potential of your work.
It could. Well, if you're at Jay Lee level, you don't need it to.
I was going to say, Jay Lee doesn't really need to have
he doesn't need
more
it
than
to.
Jay Lee.
But so for me, it's just going to say Bryan SilverBax at the top, and it's going to have a picture of Loggerhead or whoever I decide to put on there, very much cropped to 2 feet or 24 inches,
sure.
And then that's just going to be it.
Well, because
I need to be able to roll
still
out.
Get you work.
Yeah, I need to be able to roll out. So I'm making a conscious decision to come up with a smaller rollout kit in the event that someone says, hey, man, we'll fly you out to WonderCon, or we'll fly you out to Canadian
At
Con.
a moment's notice.
And then I'll just be able to say, all right, I got my go bag. Boom, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, that's smart, because we got to think about our business.
So that's why I'm trying out these cheap gray markers. I can just have them and like keep them and not have to worry about them.
But you've been Bryan SilverBax for a long time. You've been an artist for a very long time. Even cheap gray things, you can do good stuff with.
It make it like the way you say that, and then I look at the quote unquote level of success. You're like, you've been Bryan SilverBax for a long time. Look at how much you haven't, how little you've gotten done.
I'm looking right now.
Time.
People can't see this on podcast land. I'm looking now at a wall of
sketch cards,
and your Deadpool Harley Quinn, right? And I've seen how much you've progressed. So I can see what you can do with very little if you had to, because you've done a lot with a lot.
Yeah.
So you're also drawing on sketch cards. Sketch cards is not like an 11 by 17 piece of paper.
No.
You're having to do a lot within a little bit of space. So you've kind of been perfecting that Silverback style for a while.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. But also at Hobby Lobby, they have the 40% off coupon
every
daily.
Yeah.
So all you have to do, for anyone that's listening, type it in for us at our Hobby Lobby. My phone doesn't get good reception inside.
No,
so I have to log
there's
in
a jammer on the inside of Hobby Lobby.
I have
you
to
do
load
it outside.
Up in the parking lot. I get my coupon code loaded up, and then I go inside.
Yeah,
and you get 40% off your most expensive item. So that's always great.
And it even works if you go back an hour later.
Yeah,
because I've done it before. Like, shit, I forgot my pad of paper.
I have not done that.
40% off.
So that's for anybody. I also saw that they have large packs of vellum paper.
Yeah.
Not sure if you're going to need that anymore.
I just needed the one piece because I was recently requested to do
to make two of an original.
Yeah, two versions of the same original. Because there's a gentleman dying of cancer. He and his best friend, will be parting ways soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asked by a friend of both of theirs to capture them in some of my Shadows of Yourselves art, and but he'd like to give an original to both of them, and
the same original.
Yeah, the same original. That was
which
the
is
request.
Kind of oxymoronic, like the same original.
And notoriously, I don't draw exactly the same way every single time, even if I'm drawing the same art. So but I wanted these guys to have the same art. If at all possible, so without making it just a print and a copy. So I bought some vellum paper, cut it to the right size, and I kind of like traced over myself, but I made sure, because it's muscle memory, Brian.
Yeah.
If you do certain things, you can do the strokes here and there pretty confidently, pretty quickly. So, and I was actually able to improve a couple things that I didn't.
Oh my gosh, it's not an exact copy.
Well, it's a slightly different. It's like one of those where's all the differences side by side photos, So I was very happy with it. They got it Saturday, and I don't know how well it was received or not like that, because they clearly have issues going on in their lives right now.
Yeah. They're dealing with bigger stuff.
That's where vellum paper is excellent. If for anybody who doesn't know what vellum paper is,
it's tracing paper.
It's like very expensive tracing paper. It's a very rigid tracing paper, and it's what surrounds most wedding invitations.
Yeah.
So it's a very fine paper. It's got a bit of fanciness to it, but you can trace right through it and still have it be nice and bold when you put it against
the way that I use vellum paper is when I do my rough digital sketch, when I get my layout done.
Yeah, sure.
I print it on vellum paper, and then I take it to my light box, and then I put my Bristol on top of the vellum, so light's just shining right through.
That's great.
And then that way I can keep some sketch lines off my paper.
Yeah, that's great. It's brilliant. I don't do anything like that just yet, but I'm going to have to start learning those kind of techniques.
Yeah. All right. Well, what other you got any projects you want to talk about before we go? Any new drawing things? Any new art related shit?
I am working on a lot. Because it's the 60 days of Halloween, Brian.
All right. Are you doing Drawloween this year?
No, I don't ever do that. I'm.
Did you see what I'm doing?
No, I haven't seen anything yet.
No, I haven't turned anything in. It's not October yet, but I'm going to do one 11 by 17 piece with 31 characters on it. And so each day, because I saw that
you're adding to it.
Yeah, I saw that like Jason Flowers and what's that? Patrick Giles, yeah, and a couple of other people. They've got
Patrick Giles is my nemesis, by the way.
they've got their list of stuff that they're going to do for the 31 days of Inktober.
Okay.
And they've published it and told everybody. And what they do is they draw it and then they sell off that piece. So technically, if you sold 31 pieces at $25 to $30 a piece, that's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, that's
Now, granted, they're probably not going to sell them all. But
true.
even if you sell 10,
if you sold half,
if you sold 10, that's $250 at $25 a piece. So what these people, what a lot of artists, and I'm sure they're not the only ones, are putting out there. Hey, I'm doing Inktober this year, yep. And here's what I'm doing. Claim yours now.
Right.
And so that's pretty cool.
I think it's great. I think it's a great revenue stream, especially it allows an artist to do a lot of different types of stuff. I usually draw a few Halloween pieces for the
but the Inktober is a discipline thing. It's one every day, a complete ink drawing.
Yeah, that's fine. I could do that.
I
prefer to do the Shadows of Ourselves.
But can you commit to doing a shadow every day? I mean, it doesn't have to be Halloween related.
I usually do about 3 to 4 a day. That's the thing. Is like
good grief. Where are you posting all these? I haven't seen that.
No, I've been saving some because I'm working on the book. Shadows of
okay.
So I've stopped posting ad nauseum.
All right.
I'm saving a few because that way there's some surprises when people get the book.
I like it. So, but I've done Inktober in the past. My very first Inktober, I did. You remember my original Paint Pals?
Yeah.
I did a Paint Pal every day for 31 days.
That's good.
That was a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, but like you said, it's discipline.
The next year I did it, I said, fuck doing a full-on paint can every day. Because not only would I draw them, I would color them the same day too.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's a lot of work. So the following year, I did just random sketch cards. I started with Batman, did Daredevil, all these sketch cards. And I was like, all right, well, that wasn't so bad. So then the next year, I did sketch cards again, but I was like, all right, I'm going to try to sell these. Like, I need to sell these.
Yeah.
So I tried to do, and I was using, at that time, for the last one, I was doing Drawloween prompts, which is they give you a prompt word to do for your art.
That's a good challenge, too.
On this day, Scary Cat. On this day, Wicked Witch. On this day, Pot of Gold, or whatever it is.
Nice.
So they give you some prompts, and I followed the prompts, and I did my thing. And I, to this day, still have some of those cards. I'm like, well, fuck, I don't need to draw a whole bunch of shit that no one cares about, you know? And so to avoid me having 31 pieces created in Inktober and only selling 3 of them, I'm just going to create one piece. And maybe someone will, like, it's going to be an expensive fucking piece, though.
Sure, yeah.
Like, the more I think about it, I don't think anybody's going to be able to afford what I think the piece would be worth.
Well, what if you didn't do just one big piece? What if you did...
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Right.
I'm putting 31 horror characters on one piece.
Oh, but so you do that, all right? So say it is priced out for, say, Inktober.
Yeah.
You put it on the table the next time. Someone will buy it because, I mean, who doesn't love
whatever?
all those
It's going to make a good fucking print. I promise you
that.
that.
Yeah.
It's going to make a print, and I'm going to turn it into a mock cover. And I'll turn
What size are you drawing it on?
11 by 17.
Okay, yeah.
I'm an 11 by 17 comic book head. All right. Well, you guys, hopefully you'll take part in Inktober if you're a creative person and you have the time to dedicate to that.
Or that you'll be taking part by buying Bryan's work at the end of October.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask anybody to do that because that's going to be
may not have to,
unless someone shoots me an offer that's I can't refuse. But have a great October. Have a great September. You know, whatever. Thank you for listening to the podcast. JR, you got anything to close it out?
No, I'm just going to keep drawing.
Keep drawing and watching movies, reading comic books,
Yeah.
And keep moving forward. That's a big thing. Like for us creatives, don't stall out.
Yeah, because it's easy to do. It's easy to stop. But
It's
like
a
anything
lot.
else, you know, everything is meant to be taken a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So
Stay
take
out of
pressure
your own
off
head.
yourself. Yeah, take pressure off yourself, man. Have fun with this stuff.
Yeah.
Have a goal.
Thank you guys for listening. Please let all your friends know that if you like this, you know, share, subscribe, and do all that shit so Skynet doesn't shut us down. You know, check out, you know, you could just check out JR online. Just type in JR Mounts. Check out Bryan SilverBax online. Just type in Bryan SilverBax. Pretty easy. Other than that,
And there's links on the podcast.
there's always links. And then that dog's barking telling us it's time to go. So you guys, stay creative.
It's almost